first, can you tell me just a little bit of your initial reaction upon hearing this?
Well, I would say that that this was based on what the charges were, that this was a surprising verdict, because it seems as though that the majority, by far and away, the majority of the jurors concluded very quickly that this was an act of self-defense. And so in a scenario like that, that is surprising that you would have a murder trial emanating from a set of circumstances where very clearly there was a very good argument that at least this person was acting in self-defense with regards to these other young men that he was fighting with.
So we have the verdict. We know where we're at now. Where do we go from here?
Well, that's a very good question. It depends a lot on what the jury's verdict was based on. But for the most part, it looks like Mr. Valle might be out of jeopardy. It doesn't look like, to me, looking at this verdict, that it was. If it was based solely on self-defense, it's very hard to imagine a scenario where the state comes back and says, well, now we want to charge him with reckless conduct. If the self-defense claim covers intentional conduct and an intentional murder, how is it logically that you could say, well, it doesn't cover reckless behavior, which, flailing a knife around and acting recklessly and cutting somebody? He clearly did it intentionally, but the reason that he did it was because he was defending himself, and this jury obviously found that he, in his own mind, thought that his life was in danger, and therefore he was acting to save his own life as opposed to take other people's lives. That's the logic of it.
And so manslaughter, will that no longer be on the table as well, David?
It could be, but I don't see, if you're the prosecutor prosecuting this case, you've just tried this young man on murder, you've just lost, and you've lost because there was a self-defense claim. How is it that you could then say, well, he acted recklessly under the same circumstances that excused him of an intentional murder? It really doesn't make any sense.
I was watching your interview the other day with Darren Kramer here, and you talked a little bit about how logically you would think it was 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Mm-hmm. Could it be possible that it was 11 not guilty and 1 guilty?
That's probably what it was. So normally, what happens is if you have a very quick verdict, almost always it's a state verdict. But in this particular case, these jurors found that this self-defense claim was extremely strong, and they immediately hooked onto that. And there obviously was one juror who was a holdout saying, no, I think we need to look at this a little bit longer, because again, it was very fast that they came back and said, nope, this is self-defense. That's what we think it was, and therefore we'll acquit him of all of these charges.
And I can see your surprise here in this case, and as you talked about here, is a self-defense claim usually not this strong in a case like this?
They're muddy. They're certainly muddy. Normally, if you have self-defense claims, they normally involve guns. Stabbings are very rare. We don't see a heck of a lot of those. It's an odd set of circumstances.